Thoughts on what Coach Key is doing for 2026? I don't love it, and a lot of that has to do with I really like Nick Lour from Lebanon, who he went and visited a couple weeks ago, but he hasn't offered him. Hey, it's Juck. At number one, the most beautiful uniform in all of sport. If they brought back the gray stripes, this thing is so far out in front of everybody, you can't touch it. We are not bemoaning the noon kickoff. We are now owning it. It's a badge of honor. We're the lunatic fringe that defines our coach's legacy when it comes to this game. They don't get to define that outside the family. We're cut from a different cloth. We're Ohioans. Do I want Michigan to beat Oklahoma? No way in hell. I don't know what world I'm living in. This is insane to me. And if you saw my outburst, I apologize. It's showtime now. And welcome to Juck on Bucks. Appreciate you so much for joining me for a commitment video. I am somewhat concerned of, I feel obligated to do a video for every one of these commitments, particularly guys like Nick, who I talk to throughout the cycle. And I obviously want to do this video, but I don't want to stack them all on each other. And we need to talk to the Ohio State staff as they, those guys are coming out too fast and furious. We're going to stack each other and not really get the proper punch for each one of these guys that they deserve. But the Buckeyes get another one, guys. They get another one, and this one has moved the needle. It has moved the needle for sure, as the class that sat as the 9th-ranked class for a very long time after the big summer official visits, is now in 6th place. The 6th-ranked class after this fury we've seen. And think about this for a second. In 2024 and in 2025, after the month of August, in both of those classes, Ohio State added just 3 prospects to finish off the needs. And this year looked like it was going to be the same thing. On the board, you needed a cornerback, you needed an edge, and that's really what you needed to finish off this class of 2026. And since mid-November, the Buckeyes have now made 8 additions to this class of 2026. 8 additions. Now, 2 of those additions were replacing a flip. Landry Breedy, or Mason Wilhelm, technically, I would suppose. Mason Wilhelm replaces Aaron Thomas. And now, Corbin Fordham, who flipped out of the class. Corbin Fordham, tight end from Jacksonville, 3-star kid, now replaced by Nick Lour from Lebanon. And the class moves up to the 6th-ranked class in the country. Certainly the ability to catapult by a good margin into the 5th-place class in the country if they can land cornerback out of Windermere, Florida, C.J. Bronaugh, who was in town for an official visit on Friday. But let's talk about Nick. Nick Lour, if you are someone who loves Ohio State recruiting and loved the Jake Cook story last year, this is the Jake Cook of this year. Nick Lour, 6'5", now up to 235 pounds with the frame that looks like he can pack up to, 255 and still move pretty good. I mean, he's a real large framed kid and such a talented receiver for his team. He's lining up wide most of the time, playing him like a wide receiver. He's got massive hands. He's athletic, makes really great catches. He's a devastating blocker. I mean, just smashes dudes. Looks very fluid running those routes, very coordinated. Super smart, Ivy League offers. Dad is a naval officer. So, the kid of a naval officer, he's very respectful, regimented, got all the intangibles that you're looking for at Ohio State. And, after Keenan Bailey lost Corbin Fordham, which was a real shock to lose Corbin Fordham to Florida State, because Corbin was so involved with the class and he came up several times. He loved Ohio State. In the end, he flips to his dad's alma mater, which is, whatever. Unfortunately for him, the coach is about to get fired. But when we look at the tight end room next year, you don't know what's going to happen with Max Clare. Will Kazmarek, he's out of eligibility. Bennett Christian, he's got another year. Jelani Thurman, he'll be back. And you've got Max LeBlanc. You've got Nate Roberts. You've got Brody Lennon. So the possibility was there that if Keenan Bailey didn't find a guy that he loved here, he would go ahead and pass on this class, get 2 next year. He's already got a great relationship brewing with Brock Williams, the number 2 tight end in the country next year. And to add another one onto him would be just fine. and we really didn't know what direction the Buckeyes were going to go here. In addition, it almost felt like you kind of missed out because you had Preston Frizel out of the state of Ohio, who is from Toledo Central Catholic, now committed to Notre Dame. And you probably could have gotten in on that one early. You've also got the kid that's committed to Georgia. I don't know why. Like, you guys know how many names I spit out in recruiting. For some reason, I cannot ever remember this kid's name. Out of Lexington High School, he's committed to Georgia. I'll have to put this in writing when I'm done. I don't know why I can't remember. He's a supreme athlete, kind of, middle of the road tight end, as far as he can go one way or the other. He can catch passes. He needs to gain a lot of weight to be able to block, but two high-end programs come into the state of Ohio and bring a tight end out. And then you had Nick Lour out of Lebanon, committed to Louisville, and JP McFarland committed to Indiana. So 4 kind of big deal tight ends out of the state of Ohio. And Keenan elected to get a 3-star out of Florida. But when Corbin Fordham flips out, what's Keenan going to do? And he talked to Frizel, talked to McFarland, and then talked to Nick Lautar. And he went a couple weeks ago and visited Nick Lautar. And Nick Lautar, I talked to at that time. I talked to him before that. And Nick really was very interested in the comings and goings of Corbin Fordham's decommitment. Is he, when the rumors were around that Corbin was going to decommit, he was asking a lot of questions. Did you hear? I mean, is he going to decommit? And then when he did decommit, like, he was really excited about it. It was very clear, like, this guy really, really, really wants this offer. And then when he got the visit from Keenan at his school, then he gets invited to the UCLA game. And it's like, all right, this sounds like it's going to happen now. So he gets to the UCLA game, gets his offer at the UCLA game, obviously wants to commit on the spot. And there are so many parallels to Jake Cook. Keenan tells him to wait till the next day, sleep on it, which he does. And the next morning, he commits to Ohio State. And when we look at this class now, there are now 10 kids from the state of Ohio in this class, over a third of the class. And as we look at the new recruiting strategies and the new way you want to build your roster and the way that culture and retention is so much more important now, you want your developmental guys, like any kind of guy you're taking that's a developmental guy. If it's an even talent out of the state of Ohio versus the state of Florida, buddy, you better get that kid from Ohio, because retention is more than just money. Retention is home. Retention is understanding culture. Retention is so much more than just, we're going to pay you a little extra money. Ohio State's been great at retention. They have the best culture in college. Well, let's put it this way. Nobody's is better. There is no better culture right now than Ohio State. And we can look at last year's spring portal as evidence of that, when you've got 0 guys leaving in the spring portal at Ohio State. And that's not just money. That's not just money. That's culture. And the decision to bring in more local kids is very calculated. The best programs are doing it. We've seen Georgia do the same thing. Their percentage has jumped up tremendously of the state of Georgia kids that they're bringing in. Whereas, there seemed to be a time where it was dwindling down for both Ohio and Georgia. I think we're going to see that uptick as the number of local prospects you want to stay home. So, huge news for Nick, and the parallels to Jake Cook are just awesome. Like, this is that guy. This is that guy who it meant so much to, just like Jake last year. Coincidentally, both of them were committed to Louisville, which is kind of hilarious. Total coincidence, but these were those two guys, man. Like, this meant everything to Jake last year, and I documented that one. Jake's kind of journey there, trying to get that Ohio State offer, which was a little more dramatic, as he had come to camp twice and left without that offer. And the second time he left with that offer, said, that's it, I'm done. And then he went and started peer recruiting on Twitter, only to get that offer 2 days later, and he committed on the spot as well. But this journey for Nick Lautar, like, this is a kid living his dream. And any of us who grew up in the state of Ohio playing football and playing Ohio high school football, like, This is a kid that's living out that dream, and it means so much to him. And when it means that much to you as a football player, and you have the ability to do it, it's the recipe for a great addition to your class. And while it may not be the most exciting to everybody, this is the type of guy that's, the salt of the earth, heartbeat of the class, heartbeat of the building. You get enough kids like this, you're bound to have a fantastic culture. And, there are other guys in this class that could have been that dude too. I think Preston Friesel, Braden Fogel, that's the kid from Lexington. Fogel. Don't know about him, but McFarland, who committed to Indiana, there's dudes. There's dudes in the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio football continues to get better. And I'm really happy that Keenan chose to bring him in, because why not? Why not? When you are talking about bringing in developmental guys now, you've got these extra numbers. Bring in the developmental guys, make them line of scrimmage players, keep them from home. And if you end up hitting, you end up hitting. If nothing else, you got more guys who will stay in the program, love the program, spread the values of the program, and help the guys from out of state understand what being a Buckeye is all about. And it's a good thing, man. It's a really good thing. So very happy for Nick, very happy for Keenan Bailey, because I think you got a really good one. And Keenan Bailey's tight end room is a room that isn't quite, I don't think, what we thought it was going to be in the preseason. In the preseason, we talked, most people thought this is the greatest tight end room we've ever seen at Ohio State. Maybe it is, but it's not really performed in a way that I think a lot of us thought. And there's been some kind of bumbling of the heavy sets and some things like this. Maybe Max Clare hasn't quite produced. And remember, he came in and got the slam of his life, not realizing quite what he was getting into, coming from Purdue to Ohio State. And Jeremiah called him out on it, and they got him right. But the performance, I don't think, has been, we expected some big plays like we saw at Purdue. We haven't really seen those yet. I think he needs another year at Ohio State. And I think that would definitely be best for him. There's a lot of people talking about, is he going to go to the NFL? Or assuming he's gone already, I'd be surprised, I think, if he wasn't back. I think he will be back. And with that the case, you've got Bennett Christian will be back. So Bennett, Max Clare, Jelani Thurman will be the top three. And Nate kind of has worked his way into their top four. Max LeBlanc, not quite sure how things are going to end up with him, as he's been kind of bounced over by freshman Nate Roberts and potentially freshman Brody Lennon as well. But as far as Nick Lour goes, he'll fit right in with this crew. By the way, Nick, a multi-sport athlete and a guy who is not a tight end who plays basketball like we see so many of them. Nick is a tight end who is a wrestler. And you can see how well he understands leverage in his film as well. 6'5" wrestler. Like you got issues with natural leverage when you're that tall. And to get that background in wrestling, to have that understanding of leverage physically, and to get that natural understanding of it from wrestling, and to be able to translate on the football field, is extremely important and advantageous for a tight end who's going to end up being, when we look at the tight ends on the roster, I think more of a Max Clare, who's going to be a really strong blocker, but he's much more fleet of foot and can catch the ball as well. So interesting stuff going on in the tight end room. Again, I'm happy that they took another tight end in this class. I'm happy that they didn't just pass on it and kick the can down the road. But when we're talking about tight ends, Brock Williams is going to be making his decision soon. And Brock, a super stud. I'm kind of the opinion you don't really need super studs in the Ohio State tight end room. And Mark and I were talking about this last night. And it's just like, you can't be everything at every position. You got 60 snaps. You got amazing wide receivers. And this year, everybody wanted to see a little more tight end involved with Max Clare. And immediately when we see that, people are angry that the slot receiver isn't getting enough catches. And it's just like, there's only so many things you can do at a high level. I personally like a tight end who can do what Will Kazmarek can do, which is at times block like another tackle. That feels great to me. But as we look, the way these Buckeyes are closing this thing out, man, with Kamari Bing, Landry Breed, Mason Wilhelm, Emmanuel Ruffin, Jay Timmons, Legend Bay, Dre Quinn, and now Nick Lour. Like, it's just been amazing. And you also grab another top 100 out of the class of 2027, Eli Johnson out of Texas, 6'3", 200-pound safety over the weekend. And during this time frame, we've also, Tyler Bowen has added 2 Ohio linemen in 2027, Kellen Weimer, a top 100 overall, and Mason Wilt out of St. Clairsville, who is a 3-star meathead Ohio lineman, bringing the total up to, I think, 11 total commits in the last month's time. So last 30 days, 11 guys. I don't know that we've ever had such active recruiting month as far as commitments ever in that span, that 30-day span. So pretty wild. Class of 2026, now at 27 kids. And not everybody's going to be happy with the number of 3 stars. I think there's 9 3-stars in the class. I get it personally. And we'll go down, obviously, we'll break down the class 6 ways from Sunday from now till to the end of, till the time they get on campus. I love a lot of these evaluations. I love them. I love the evaluation of even a guy like Dre Quinn, who is barely a 4-star, barely. And that's comical to me. It's really comical to me. When you watch the guy, when you see his measurables, comical stuff there. And there are quite a few of these evaluations that are hilarious to me. The Buckeyes have absolutely nailed this class, seriously. And the way it's going to perform on the field, I think looking back, it's going to be one of the better ones. And when you add this into the class of 2025, you know, when you look at the defensive ends, for instance, with Kari Wilder, Dre Quinn this year, adding them on to Zion Grady and Epi Satanile, like now all of a sudden an area that looked like, man, you know, after the class of 2024 with Dom Kirks out of Painesville and Edric, who moved inside, things were not looking good. To be able to rebound and bring in those 4, you know, really nice stuff. And some will still have in their mind the very high profile misses, right? The KJ Fords, Landon Barnes, obviously Luke Waffle and Carter Meadows. And that will be stuck in their mind and they'll forget, oh, wait, they went and got Dre Quinn. And Dre, who, while not as highly rated as those guys, like, you can't watch film with me and tell me that Landon Barnes and KJ Ford are better prospects than Dre Quinn, particularly KJ Ford, who's 6'1.5 inches. Like, you just can't tell me that. We won't go for it. We'll sit and watch it together. But I think the attitude is changing around. I think the Bucks totally flipped the script here in this class. And Ryan Day talked about why they flipped the script. I wrote an article about it over at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You can go read that article for free. BuckeyeHuddle.com, where you can see all my written work on recruiting and such. And also, I'd appreciate it if you could please subscribe to the channel here and like the video. That would be tremendous. So tonight we will be talking on BuckeyeHuddle.com, as I'll be there doing Buckeye Huddle Prime Time at 8 o'clock, where I'm there every Monday and Wednesday on the Buckeye Huddle YouTube channel. In Buckeye Huddle Prime Time tonight, we're going to be talking about the Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate situation here, as talked to some people here, particularly regarding the Jeremiah Smith injury and the Jeremiah Smith, perceived injury and that limp at the end of the game. What specifically is going on? Did they run him out there and play knowing he had this limp? Did that happen during the game? What's the situation moving forward? I've had some conversations about it. We'll talk about it tonight on Buckeye Huddle Prime Time. I hope to see you there live at 8 p.m. Until then, Juck on Bucks out. Congratulations to Nick Lautar. Awesome story.